is essential to life, and the nutrients in foods are essential to our health. I think, why not eat the foods out there in the form that will give us the maximum health benefits, and enjoy their delicious flavors while we're at it? The decision-making process about what we eat and learning about the food itself is very important. My friend Liz decided to become a vegan for a while. Here is her story.
Okay. So why I became vegan in the first place was I went to my doctor for a regular visit, and I found out that I had what they call elevated cholesterol, which means it's not high, but it's up there, and it can go up, which is not good for you. And so I asked the doctor what I could do about like lowering it, because I knew I had a family history of high cholesterol, and he told me that I might be one of those people who is on cholesterol medication early in life. And I was only 20 at the time. I'm 22 now, so like the thought of medication for cholesterol wasn't really that appealing. So I decided to look into like different diets I could try. And at the time I worked at a Whole Foods market, and I knew a lot of people who were vegan, and I had heard that it's good for people who have diabetes or heart disease, and so I figured I would try that.
Let's talk to Dr. Watts, a nutrition professor at Temple University, about diets and veganism.
There's many different ways of eating. So it's difficult to say or to label diets per se as, these are different ways of eating. But there certainly are strategies that people have developed over time in terms of eating pathways that are comfortable and common.
When you're vegan, you can't eat anything that comes from an animal, so no dairy, no meat, eggs, anything like that. So you really have to like relearn to eat. And so you learn to eat basically lots of fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables, because that's a really good source of protein. But you also learn about like dairy substitutes, so like soy milk, almond milk, rice milk, all those things. And I know people always are like, what do you eat when you're vegan? But I mean, mostly fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then dairy substitutes.
So for someone to change their diet to something that they perceive as being more healthful, that's the overarching and reason why they would maybe decide to make a decision like that, because they realize that the decisions that they were making before probably weren't the healthiest. And I think sometimes choosing a very specific way of eating can be very helpful, because it forces a person into a very narrow frame of what makes sense and what they did before that didn't make sense. And I think for a lot of people, veganism kind of fits that, because it allows them to make choices that typically revolve around healthful options, and those healthful options could be beneficial to their health long term.
But it's not easy sticking to a strict diet like veganism. Here's Liz's story.
So the reason I'm not vegan anymore is because in August I had surgery and I had my tonsils taken out. And when I was recovering from that surgery, I could only eat certain things like applesauce, yogurt, ice cream, water ice. And so I found it really hard to eat things that were vegan while I was recovering. And so I kind of went back to, when I was kind of like nurturing myself back to health, I kind of went back to my old ways of eating like dairy, meat, those kinds of things. And being vegan wasn't easy, because when you grow up eating dairy your whole life and eating meat and those kinds of things, it's hard to just stop eating them all of a sudden. So kind of once I got out of eating vegan foods, it was hard to go back to being vegan.
Not only is it hard, but
it also takes a lot of money. It's like a proven fact that eating healthy is really expensive. Sometimes what you pay for a bag of organic apples, you could buy a family for a meal at McDonald's. So it's expensive, it's time consuming, because the rest of the world is not set up to eat vegan, especially being a student when you're on the go. Like, it's hard for you to go out and be able to find something to eat that you can eat, that doesn't have dairy, that doesn't have meat. When I was vegan, I never ever ate on Temple's campus, because there's really, the food trucks, there's limited options when it comes to that. But the one food truck I really like is, there's a really nice older couple, and they work in the fruit truck, and they make smoothies and fruit, and they just cut up fruit all day. So I used to go there and I used to get like a fruit salad, and it's always really fresh and it always tastes really good. So that I could eat anytime.
Yeah, may I help you? You want the fruit salad or the smoothie today? I got too many kind in here. Just tell me the kind you like it, okay?
Awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of fruits do you guys have?
I got the fruit with the watermelon, cantaloupe, horseshoe, strawberry, red pineapple, on, and smooth. I got a lot of things.
Awesome.
Just tell me your favorite, okay?
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you so much. So what are you guys getting today?
I'm getting a pineapple mango smoothie.
Yes, awesome. What are you getting?
I think I might try the kiwi blueberry.
Awesome. And why, tell me a little bit about what you guys think about fruits in general, what you would encourage others.
To eat as much as possible. Definitely. I'm going to do a small kiwi blueberry.
I'm
please.
new to the fruit world.
Yeah.
I just started Weight Watchers,
Yeah.
so fruits are
no,
0
yeah,
points,
sugar.
so I need
Yeah,
something to
sugar.
fill me up. So
Yeah.
I've been eating fruits in between my meals and stuff like that now. So
Yeah. Well, same fruits and vegetables, as much as possible, because you can make healthy and filling and delicious fruity snacks, and not have to go to sugars and carbs. So, you just have to branch out and explore. There's a lot out there.
I got an Enzo's avocado crepe. It has chicken and avocado and all the veggies that are listed, tomatoes, broccoli, and it's really good. And it's only $5, so that's why I got it.
Awesome.
I actually go to Alter, so it's easier for me to just grab like a slice of pizza or just like a gyro from the restaurants over by the TAC.
My name is Nam Kim. I'm the owner of the Wingo Taco Truck. Our burritos are the best sellers here, and it's massive. And we have a large selection of vegetarian options, so if you're a vegetarian, please come join us.
Bagel shop.
Awesome. And what do you sell the most? What do people like the most?
I guess everything bagels.
Yeah? Everything bagels? Everything bagels with what?
Vegetable cream cheese, bacon, egg and cheese, sausage, egg and cheese.
So, what kind of work does it take to be vegan if you don't have too many economical options nearby? And what is one super healthy item to have that is pretty quick and easy to make?
So it takes a lot of preparation. You have to think about cooking food before you go out, cutting up snacks before you go out, drinks, things like that. The healthiest thing that I can think about to eat on the go is making fresh fruit and vegetable juice from either a juicer or a blender. So I have this wonderful blender called a Vitamix. It's like the blender of all blenders. And basically, I don't do this every day, but it's a really good way to get all the nutrients from the fruit and vegetables. So usually I'll do something called green juice, where it's like an apple, like a handful of kale, pineapple, you can do grapes, you can do lettuce, some people like celery, carrots, anything you want to put in there. And then the blender, you can use a juicer, which is a little different, but a blender or the Vitamix, you put it all in, and it's so powerful, it just liquefies everything. When actually blending it, you're breaking down the cell wall, the barriers, so you're getting all the nutrients all at once. So just drinking, if you're just drinking like a glass of juice, you're getting all the nutrients from like a whole apple, like a handful of kale, whole stalk of celery. So you're able to kind of consume a lot more of the nutrients in a smaller portion. That makes sense.
There's a benefit to consuming, fruits and vegetables. Not only are you getting the nutrients that are in those fruits and vegetables, but you're also getting certain characteristics of those foods that you don't typically get from animal-based foods, primarily fiber. So if a person is juicing, typically it grinds up whatever the food might be, presses it, and then you dispose the pulp, but you consume the liquid. So the liquid portion is fantastic because you're going to get all of those water-soluble nutrients that stayed in the liquid, but you're going to lose all the beneficial aspects of fiber in that respect. You'll get some of the fiber, but not the majority of it. If you're blending, you get everything. And all you're doing is assisting your body's ability to digest and break down those foods by breaking the cell walls, by breaking the fiber structures that trap many of those nutrients. So there's tons of benefits to fiber. So soluble fiber forms these gels in our bodies, and it helps to bind cholesterol and carry it out of the body. It's also, we don't have the capacity to digest fiber, but there's bacteria inside of us that digest fiber. And that bacteria creates substances that are very helpful to us when we absorb it in terms of lowering risk of chronic disease. Likewise, the insoluble fiber creates bulk for our digestive system to work against, and it speeds up rate at which food moves through the body. It binds water. So when we have bowel movements, it makes it much more easier to eliminate.
What is one ingredient that you always put in your green juice?
And I always put kale in there because, one, I really like kale and I think it tastes really good. And kale has, there's a scale, it's called an Andes scale, stands for Aggregate Density Nutrients Index. And it basically categorizes fruits and vegetables by how many nutrients or the density of the nutrients. And kale is like really high on the list. It has scores 1,000. So it's really, really healthy for you. A lot of phytochemicals, a lot of nutrients. And so I pretty much put that in, every time I make juice I put that in there because I like it. It's also good if you bake it. It tastes really good. It's like chips. Yeah.
Well, I think kale should be everyone's friend. I'm a big fan of the dark green leafy vegetables. They're a very rich source of nutrients. They're a very rich source of phytochemicals, plant-based chemicals that we know to be healthful, either as lowering our chronic disease risk or lowering our cancer risk. It's also a rich source of beta-carotene, which is an extremely important antioxidant that we have the capability of converting into vitamin A.
And I can say that now that I'm not vegan, I eat way less meat and way less dairy than I used to, even though I started eating it again. But eventually I will go back to being vegan because for me, it really helped me like physically feel a lot better. And I had more energy, and through becoming vegan, I realized I was allergic to dairy. So like a lot of people don't know that when you have skin problems like eczema or rashes, even acne, it's caused by food allergies that they just don't know about. And so I used to have eczema really, really bad. And when I stopped eating dairy, it just like within a few days it was gone. So eventually I'll go back. I don't know when, but it's a work in progress, I think.
Some of this can be attributed to the fact that she feels good about the decision that she's made, and she's probably seen a very close connection between the way she feels and the decision that she made to change her diet. And some of it may have a lot to do with the fact that, that change in her diet afforded her an opportunity to have better access to nutrients. And those nutrients, some of which the B vitamins as an example, give us more energy. We feel more energetic because we are able to get energy from the foods that we're consuming better, especially as it relates to those specific nutrients. I have friends, as I mentioned before, who are vegans, and they don't always make the most healthiest decisions because you can be a vegan and still eat very poorly. But if you're conscious, if you're aware, when we eat, it's an intentional act, and you're making those intentional decisions from, a good place. You're familiar with what are healthful options as it relates to a vegan lifestyle, then I think it could be very helpful.